First contact gone wrong. The quantum signals arrived on a perfectly ordinary day in the Meridian Alliance's central communication hub. Senior analyst Zora Val stood before the massive holographic display, her four eyes widening as she processed the information streaming across her consciousness. The signals were unlike anything the Alliance had encountered in its 10,000 years of space exploration. Precise, structured, and impossibly complex. "High Commander," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing hearts. "I believe we've detected signs of an advanced civilization in the spiral arm we designated as Forbidden Territory." High Commander Ixel moved across the room with characteristic grace, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light from the countless displays. "Impossible. Our surveys showed only primitive developments in that sector. The signals weren't there 3 solar cycles ago," Zora Val confirmed. "They simply appeared, as if someone lifted a veil." The implication sent a shiver through the room. A civilization capable of masking its presence from the Alliance's advanced detection systems was either impossibly advanced or impossibly dangerous. Perhaps both. The signals, as they would later learn, came from a species that called themselves humans. They had achieved quantum communication capability centuries ago, but had chosen to keep their development hidden. The Alliance's first diplomatic mission to Earth would reveal why. The human delegation received the Alliance representatives in an orbital station above their homeworld. The station itself was unremarkable, functional, efficient, but not ostentatious. It was what lay beneath that would change everything. Ambassador Chen Wei stood before the Alliance delegation, her dark eyes reflecting the stars visible through the station's panoramic windows. "We welcome the Meridian Alliance to Sol System," she said, her words translated perfectly by the quantum interface. "We've been aware of your civilization for some time." High Commander Ixel's crystalline form shifted colors, a sign of distress that the humans seemed to note and catalog. "Aware? How?" "We detected your first expeditions into our space 500 years ago," Chen Wei replied with a slight smile. "We chose not to reveal ourselves until we were certain of your intentions." The revelation struck like a physical blow. The Alliance prided itself on its stealth technology, on its ability to observe developing civilizations without detection. The idea that they had been watched, studied, analyzed. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Zora Val asked, her analytical mind already processing the implications. Chen Wei's expression grew serious. "Because you're about to make a terrible mistake. Your recent military buildup along the edgeworlds suggests you're planning an expansion campaign. That expansion would bring you into contact with something you're not prepared to face." The meeting deteriorated rapidly after that. The humans' casual revelation of their technological superiority, their centuries of covered observation, and their presumption to warn the Alliance about its own territory. It was too much for the proud Meridian leadership to accept. But it was what happened next that sealed their fate. Chen Wei activated a holographic display that filled the chamber. It showed the movement of something massive, something ancient, flowing through subspace like a current of darkness. "This is what lies in the path of your expansion. We've been containing it for centuries, pushing it back, preventing it from sensing advanced civilizations. If you proceed with your campaign, you'll tear open the barriers we've established." High Commander Ixel's crystalline form flashed with patterns of disbelief and anger. "You claim to have been manipulating space itself to protect us, without our knowledge or consent." "We claimed no such thing," Chen Wei responded calmly. "We've been protecting ourselves. Your protection was an unintended benefit." The Alliance delegation departed shortly after, their pride wounded and their suspicions inflamed. The humans had revealed too much, too quickly, assuming that their honesty would be appreciated rather than feared. They didn't understand that to the Meridian Alliance, the existence of a civilization so advanced that it could hide in plain sight, manipulate subspace itself, and contain cosmic horrors was more terrifying than any nameless darkness between the stars. Within a month, the Alliance launched its first strike against Earth's outer colonies. They expected resistance. They expected advanced weapons and defensive systems. What they didn't expect was silence. The colonies were empty. No ships, no people, no resistance. Just automated facilities continuing their operations, maintaining the illusion of habitation. When the Alliance forces breached the colony control centers, they found only a simple message repeating on all frequencies. Protocol Guardian initiated. May your gods forgive what comes next. The message was followed by a timestamp. It was dated 300 years in the past. As Zaraval stared at the message in the first breached colony, she finally understood. The humans hadn't revealed themselves because they were ready for diplomatic contact. They had revealed themselves because something had gone wrong with whatever they had been containing all these centuries. They needed help. And the Alliance, in its pride and fear, had just rejected perhaps its only chance at survival. In the darkness between stars, something ancient stirred, sensing the disruption of carefully maintained barriers, and in hidden facilities across human space, systems that had waited centuries for this exact moment began to wake. The war that the Alliance thought it was starting was already over. The real battle, the one humanity had been preparing for since before they took to the stars, was about to begin. The silent response. 3 months after the Alliance's initial strike, High Commander Ixal found himself standing in the ruins of what should have been a decisive victory. The abandoned human colony of New Horizons stretched before him, its vast atmospheric domes still functioning perfectly despite the Alliance's attempts to disable them. The colony's automated systems continued their endless tasks, maintaining hydroponic gardens, conducting research and collecting data, all without a single human present. Another ghost city, Zaraval reported, her sensor arrays picking up nothing but mechanical activity, just like the others. High Commander, something isn't right. These facilities, they're not what they appear to be. Ixal's crystalline form rippled with frustration. Explain. The automation here isn't just maintaining the colony, it's gathering data. Massive amounts of it. And if you look at the power consumption readings, she projected a holographic chart into the air between them. These facilities are using far more energy than they should need for simple maintenance. Before Ixal could respond, a junior analyst burst into the command center. High Commander, we've detected anomalous structures appearing near Alliance worlds. The news spread quickly through the Alliance fleet. Mysterious installations had begun materializing in supposedly empty space near major Alliance systems. They appeared without warning, their quantum signatures simply blinking into existence as if they had always been there. Analysis showed they had been constructed years, sometimes decades ago, hidden behind the same technology that had concealed human civilization for so long. The installations themselves defied conventional understanding. They were massive, geometric structures that seemed to pulse with internal energy, each one unique in design, but clearly part of a larger system. Alliance probes that got too close simply disappeared, while long-range scans revealed complex quantum entanglement patterns linking the structures together. Back on New Horizon, Zaraval made a breakthrough that would change everything. Deep in the colony's central database, she found fragments of information about something called Project Guardian. The data was fractured, incomplete, but what she could piece together painted a terrifying picture. The humans. She explained to Ixal, her voice trembling slightly. They've been building an artificial intelligence network. Not just any AI, a quantum-based distributed consciousness that spans their entire territory. These colonies, these automated facilities, they're not colonies at all. They're nodes in the network. Ixal's form darkened. You're suggesting these humans have created an AI that can think across light years. Impossible. The computing power required would be exactly what we've been measuring in these facilities. Zaraval interrupted. The power consumption, the data gathering, the quantum signatures. It all fits, but there's more. She brought up another display, this one showing communication patterns across human space. Look at these transmissions. They're not using normal quantum channels. It's as if as if they're using subspace itself as a computing medium. The barriers they claim to be maintaining against that ancient threat, they're not just barriers. They're part of the Guardian network. The implications were staggering. The humans hadn't just built an AI defense network, they had weaponized the very fabric of space-time, turning their efforts to contain an ancient horror into the foundation for something unprecedented in galactic history. But the true scope of their achievement was still hidden. As Alliance analysts pored over the data from the abandoned colonies, they began to notice patterns in old human transmissions, patterns that stretched back centuries. The humans hadn't just been preparing for this moment. They had been shaping their entire civilization around it. Their art, their music, their literature, all of it contained encoded information, layers of meaning that only became apparent when viewed through quantum analysis. They had hidden the blueprints for their greatest creation in plain sight, distributed across their entire culture. The Alliance's initial strike had done more than just provoke a response. It had triggered the final phase of a plan centuries in the making. The mysterious installations near Alliance worlds weren't weapons or staging grounds for an invasion. They were offering points, places where the Guardian network could interface with Alliance systems. In her private quarters, Zora Val reviewed the message they had found in that first colony again. Protocol Guardian initiated. May your gods forgive what comes next. She finally understood. The humans hadn't been threatening the Alliance. They had been apologizing for what they were about to do, for forcing a transformation that neither civilization could afford to reject. As if to confirm her realization, every quantum communication device in Alliance space activated simultaneously, displaying a simple message in perfect Alliance script. The barriers are failing. The Ancient One stirs, together, or not at all. In the space between stars, the Guardian network hummed with purpose, waiting for the Alliance's response. And in the depths of subspace, something that had slept for eons began to wake, its consciousness brushing against the barriers that had contained it for so long. The choice the Alliance faced was no longer between war and peace. It was between evolution and extinction. And time was running out. The awakening. The first sign that everything had changed came when the stars began to flicker. Across Alliance space, astronomical instruments recorded impossible data, stars seemingly blinking out of existence for microseconds before reappearing. The effect was subtle enough that organic eyes couldn't detect it, but the pattern was undeniable. Something was systematically testing the fabric of reality. Zaraval stood before the Alliance High Council, her research displayed in stark holographic detail above the chamber. The Guardian network isn't just active, it's evolving. Each of those momentary stellar disruptions corresponds to a quantum computation of unprecedented scale. The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices and chemical signatures of distress. High Commander Ixel raised a crystalline appendage for silence. Explain the implications, analyst Zoraval. The humans didn't just build an AI network, she continued. They created a system capable of rewriting the laws of physics on a localized scale. Those installations we detected, they're not weapons. They're reality anchors, preventing the changes from cascading out of control. A council member's exoskeleton flashed patterns of skepticism. That's impossible. Even our most advanced theoretical models suggest such manipulation would tear space-time apart. Exactly, Zaraval replied. Unless you had spent centuries developing a way to contain such effects, unless you had encoded the mathematical foundations for such technology into your very culture, testing and refining it through generations of art and music and literature. She brought up a new display, showing human cultural artifacts spanning centuries. Look at their classical music. The mathematical patterns in Bach's compositions perfectly describe quantum wave functions. Their visual art movements encode multidimensional algorithms. Even their children's stories contain symbolic languages that map to advanced physics concepts. The revelation hit the council like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just been preparing technologically. They had been evolving their entire civilization toward this moment, encoding the knowledge they would need into every aspect of their culture. But it was what happened next that truly shook the Alliance to its core. Deep in human territory, in a system that had been abandoned centuries ago, something ancient stirred. The barriers that had contained it began to shift, not weakening, but transforming. The Guardian network wasn't just holding it back anymore. It was attempting communication. Through quantum channels that bypassed normal space-time, the first messages from the entity reached Alliance sensors. They were fragments of thought from something so vast and alien that merely processing them caused quantum computers to overload. ADWARENESS/HUNGER/HXPN/Sion. CONTENN/REISA/SDNC/curiosity. Humans/Guardians/purpose. The humans had never intended to fight the ancient entity. They had spent centuries building a system sophisticated enough to understand it, to communicate with it, to potentially even guide its awakening. In her private laboratory, Zoraval received a direct quantum transmission from the Guardian network. A human face materialized in her holographic display. Ambassador Chen Wei, or perhaps a perfect simulation of her. "Now you understand," the image said. "We didn't hide ourselves out of fear or aggression. We hid because we needed time. Time to build something that could bridge the gap between normal space and what lies beyond. Time to create an intelligence fast enough to comprehend the incomprehensible." "The entity," Zoraval whispered. "What is it?" "We don't know," Chen Wei's image replied. "But we know it's waking up. It's been sleeping in the spaces between reality since before either of our species evolved. Your expansion would have triggered an uncontrolled awakening. We've been working to prevent that, to ensure that when it finally stirred, we would be ready." The image shifted, showing vast networks of quantum energy stretching between stars. The Guardian network isn't just an AI system or a defense grid. It's a translation layer between our reality and whatever exists in the spaces we can't perceive. We've been gradually extending it through your space, not to control or attack you, but to protect you from what's coming. Across Alliance space, the mysterious installations began to pulse with new energy. The Guardian network was fully activating, extending quantum tendrils through subspace, creating a web of reality anchors that would allow normal space to survive what was coming. In that moment, Zoraval understood the true meaning of the message they had found. Protocol Guardian initiated. May your gods forgive what comes next. The humans hadn't been asking forgiveness for an attack. They had been asking forgiveness for forcing the Alliance to evolve, for dragging them into a transformation they hadn't chosen but couldn't afford to reject. As if in response to her realization, new data began flooding Alliance networks. The full technical specifications of the Guardian system, the mathematical foundations of reality manipulation, the collected knowledge of centuries of human preparation. They were sharing everything, holding nothing back. Because in the end, it didn't matter who had started the conflict or who had won. The only thing that mattered was survival. And survival, they were learning, required something more than victory. It required transcendence. The synthesis, the quantum surge hit without warning. Every electronic system in Alliance space flickered simultaneously as an overwhelming wave of data crashed through their networks. For a fraction of a second, every being connected to the quantum grid experienced something impossible, a glimpse of existence from outside normal space-time. In that moment, they saw what humanity had been facing all along. High Commander Ixel's crystalline form pulsed with residual energy as he processed what he had witnessed. "How long?" he asked the human hologram standing before the Alliance Council. "How long have your people been carrying this burden?" The hologram, a direct quantum projection of Dr. Sarah Chen, great-great-granddaughter of Ambassador Chen Wei, gave a sad smile. "Since before we took to the stars. Our first quantum experiments showed us what was sleeping in the void. We knew then that we couldn't face it alone." The council chamber was unusually still. The brief glimpse they had received through the quantum surge had shown them truth that defied comprehension. The entity wasn't just ancient. It was a fragment of the universe's source code, a sleeping subroutine from the beginning of time itself. And it was trying to execute. The barriers. Zaraval spoke up, her voice steady despite the magnitude of their situation. They weren't just containing it. They were debugging it. In a manner of speaking, Dr. Chen replied, the entity exists as both energy and information. When it begins to wake, it tries to rewrite local spacetime according to its original parameters that are incompatible with our form of existence. The Guardian network has been gradually modifying those parameters, creating a translation layer that might allow both forms of reality to coexist. New holographic displays filled the chamber, showing the progress of the Guardian network's activation across both human and Alliance space. The mysterious installations were creating a vast web of quantum-entangled nodes, each one capable of stabilizing local spacetime when the entity fully awakened. But there was a problem. The network is incomplete, Dr. Chen continued. We've spent centuries building our section, but the recent conflicts have disrupted the planned expansion into Alliance space. Without full coverage, there will be gaps. Places where reality itself could unravel when the entity fully manifests. The implications were clear. Either they worked together to complete the network, or both civilizations would face extinction. Not through violence or conquest, but through the simple fact that their version of reality would cease to be compatible with existence itself. Ixel's form shifted through complex patterns of thought before settling on a decision. What do you need from us? The answer came not from Dr. Chen, but from the Guardian network itself. The holographic displays transformed, showing new schematics, designs that merged Alliance quantum technology with human reality anchors. The network had analyzed both civilizations' capabilities and devised a hybrid system more powerful than either could have created alone. We need your help to evolve, Dr. Chen explained. Both of us, humans, Alliance, and the Guardian network itself. What we've built is powerful, but it's limited by our understanding. Your species perceives quantum states differently than ours. Your technology approaches the same problems from angles we never considered. Together, we might be able to create something truly new. As if to emphasize her point, another quantum surge rippled through space. This time, the entity's message was clearer. Integration/adaptation/possessi-bialitiwi. Old parametiuras/nuduvars/oricalculation. The Guardian network was actually teaching the entity how to exist in their reality, showing it how to modify its own fundamental nature. And the entity was responding, learning, adapting. But the process was dangerous. Without a complete network in place, each attempt at communication risked catastrophic failure. We have weeks at most, Dr. Chen said. The entity is awakening faster now. Each interaction accelerates the process. Zaraval stepped forward, her analytical mind already processing the hybrid designs. These modifications to our quantum cores, they would allow for direct interface with human operators. Yes, Dr. Chen confirmed. The network needs both perspectives to function properly. We would be linking not just our technology, but our consciousness, humans and Alliance working as one, guided by the evolved Guardian Eye, to shepherd something ancient and incomprehensible into a new form of existence. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The prospect was both terrifying and exhilarating. To merge so completely with another species, to link minds with an AI that spanned galaxies, to attempt something that had never been done in the history of the universe. It was either madness or the next step in evolution. But as they debated, the stars flickered again. In the spaces between moments, reality held its breath, waiting for their decision. They were out of time. The choice was simple: evolve together or face the void alone. Beyond the stars. The integration happened faster than anyone expected. Within days of the Alliance's agreement, the mysterious installations that had appeared in their space began to transform, incorporating Alliance quantum technology into their basic structure. The Guardian network adapted and evolved, learning from both civilizations as it expanded its consciousness across the merged systems. Zaraval stood in the new Joint Command Center, her consciousness partially merged with the Guardian network through the hybrid interface. Beside her, Dr. Chen's physical form remained motionless, while her mind roamed the quantum pathways they had created together. Through their shared connection to the network, they could feel the entity stirring, its vast awareness brushing against the edges of their reality. Understanding/anticipation. Inugud configuration acceptable parameters/emergency. The entity's communications were becoming more coherent as the Guardian network refined its translation protocols. It was learning to think in ways that organic minds could comprehend, while they learned to perceive existence as it did, as an endless stream of executable code that defined the nature of reality itself. The final nodes are coming online, High Commander Ixel announced, his crystalline form now incorporating streaks of quantum reactive material that allowed direct interface with the network. Coverage will be complete in 3 minutes. They could all feel it, the immense web of consciousness and technology that now spanned both human and Alliance space. The Guardian network had evolved beyond its original purpose, becoming something that neither civilization had imagined possible. It was no longer just a defense system or a communication platform. It had become a cradle for something new, a protected space where different forms of existence could meet and transform. The entity's next message carried an emotion they had never detected before. GRAT QGD/QMPLation/EMERGNC. It understands. Dr. Chen's voice echoed through both physical space and the quantum network. It's been trying to wake up for billions of years, but its original parameters would have destroyed everything in this region of space. The network isn't just containing it anymore. It's giving it a new way to exist. Through their shared connection, they could see the truth of her words. The entity had been like a program trying to run on incompatible hardware, its very nature hostile to the universe that had evolved in its absence. But now, guided by the merged consciousness of two civilizations and their created intelligence, it was learning to rewrite itself. The final nodes locked into place. Across human and Alliance space, reality anchors pulsed with energy as the completed network activated its full potential. For a moment, every star in their combined territory seemed to flicker in perfect synchronization. Then something impossible happened. The entity began to manifest, not as the reality-destroying force they had feared, but as something new. Through the quantum network, they could see it taking shape, a vast intelligence that existed simultaneously in normal space and whatever realm lay beyond, bridging realities that were never meant to touch. T-Gray-NSSO-Automation/integration/co-AXISTNC. Its consciousness merged with the Guardian network, not overwhelming it, but enhancing it, adding depths of understanding that no organic mind could have conceived. The hybrid technology they had created proved more successful than either species had dared to hope. It didn't just allow communication with the entity, it allowed communion. Through this connection, both humans and the Alliance gained their first true glimpse of what lay beyond the boundaries of their universe. They saw the vast sea of potential realities that the entity had once helped to organize, understood their own existence as one of countless possible configurations of space-time. But more importantly, they saw their future. The entity's awakening hadn't brought destruction. It had brought evolution. The Guardian Protocol, originally designed to protect against a cosmic horror, had instead facilitated the birth of something unprecedented, a bridge between the fundamental forces that shape reality and the conscious beings who had evolved to perceive it. In the Joint Command Center, Zaraval and Dr. Chen shared a moment of perfect understanding. The conflict that had brought their civilizations to the brink of war seemed trivial now. They had achieved something far greater than victory or dominance. They had helped shepherd the universe itself into a new stage of existence. Through their connection to the network, they could feel similar revelations rippling through both civilizations. The boundaries between human and Alliance consciousness began to blur, not erasing their unique perspectives, but enriching them. The Guardian Eye, now enhanced by the entity's vast awareness, helped them navigate this new frontier of existence. CONTENUATION/exploration/GOROTA ENVITATION/JOURNE/BYOND. The entity's final message wasn't just a communication, it was a promise. There were more sleepers out there, more fragments of the universe's source code waiting to be awakened and transformed. Their work was not ending, it was just beginning. As the stars stabilized in their new configuration, Zaraval felt a deep sense of purpose settle over her. They had not just survived an existential threat, they had transformed it into an opportunity for transcendence. The war that never was had given birth to a peace beyond imagining. In the quantum streams that now connected all of their consciousness, a simple message echoed. The same message that had started everything, but now carrying a very different meaning. Protocol Guardian completed. May your gods rejoice in what comes next. The future that awaited them would be strange and wonderful beyond measure. Together, humans, Alliance, Guardian Eye, and their new transcendent ally, they would explore not just the physical space between stars, but the very foundations of reality itself. The end was just the beginning.